Hello and welcome. Texas prison gangs are some of the most notorious and ruthless in the US, operating both inside and outside prison walls. These criminal organizations control drug trafficking, extortion, and even murder. Today, we'll dive deep into the most feared Texas prison gangs and their brutal reign of terror. Starting us off is the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, in short the ABT. Aryan Brotherhood of Texas was founded in 1981 or 1984, with sources differing on the exact year. They started as an offshoot of the Aryan Brotherhood, a large and more well-known prison gang that started in California. This powerful race-based criminal organization operates inside and outside of state and federal prisons throughout Texas and the United States. The ABT gang was formed when a group of white Texas inmates, led by its co-founder Bobby Adams, petitioned the California's Aryan Brotherhood for permission to establish a chapter in Texas. Although the original California Aryan Brotherhood refused their request, the Texas inmates continued with creating the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas. The ABT quickly rose to become one of the most deadliest gangs in Texas, responsible for scores of murders over the years. They aimed to restore white power, which had been eliminated after the abolition of the building tender system in Texas prisons. This group, which had an objective of protecting the white inmates in Texas, decided the original venture of protecting fellow white inmates was not worthwhile and ventured to other criminal activities like drug trafficking, murders, and extortions. Aryan Brotherhood of Texas has copied many aspects of the original Aryan Brotherhood of California. One such aspect is their leadership structure. This gang is led by a steering committee of 5 offenders, each of whom is responsible for a specific geographic area. The steering committee is responsible for making all rules and regulations that ensure the gang doesn't disintegrate. The Aryan Brotherhood of Texas has a strict way of allowing prospective members to join their cult. For one to be affirmed as a member, they must be sponsored by another permanent gang member. Once sponsored, a prospective member must serve an unspecified term during which he is referred to as prospect. It is during this term that his conduct is thoroughly scrutinized by other ABT members. Prospective and even permanent members who think they are bigger than the gang's virtues are disciplined harshly. Those who violate the ABT rules are either murdered, mutilated, or even robbed. Is it easy to spot a member of the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas? I can say no. That is because covering themselves with their tattoos or signs makes them easy to pick from the general population in the prison. However, that doesn't mean the ABT gang don't have their own gangster tattoos or signs. Over the years, the ABT gang has evolved in using a variety of tattoos, both open and coded. For example, one of their tattoos contains a shield-like image with a sword and a swastika inside the shield. Engraved on the outside are the gang's initials. The gang can also use a tattoo that contains the numbers 1 and 2, which are numerical substitutions for the letters A and B. Over the years, the main rivals of the Aryan Brotherhood Texas have been the Mandingo Warriors and the original Brotherhood of California. Nevertheless, law enforcement all over the states continue using all the needed resources to dismantle and weaken this group. For example, in 2012, culminating a 3-year investigation by several federal law enforcement agencies, the United States Department of Justice indicted 36 ABT members, including 4 generals, for murder, attempted murder, drug trafficking, and robberies. That was one of the largest and most important racketeering cases of the year. By mid-2014, almost 30 defendants, including General Terry Ross, Big Terry Blake, had pleaded guilty to the charges brought against them. While the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas represents white supremacists, the Hispanic inmates have their own powerhouses, one being the Barrio Azteca. This gang is not just a prison force. They have expanded their influence into the brutal world of the Mexican cartels. The Barrio Azteca, or Las Aztecas, was officially formed in the jails of El Paso by Jose Arroyo Rivera in 1986. This gang has gained an image of being tough and ruthless, always willing to commit murder of civilians in order to ensure their loyalty and obedience. This violent gang continues to grow, and according to estimates, it had around 3,500 members in 2012 and in 2013 had 3,000 members in the United States alone. The Barrio Azteca's highly organized nature has helped it gain membership both in the United States and Mexico. As of March 2015, the organization's top leader was Eduardo Lavero, who formed part of the FBI's top most wanted fugitives list until he was arrested in July 2018. Most of the rest of Barrio Azteca leadership is based in the US jails, where these leaders use telephone, postal services, and secret messages to communicate with members on the outside. Beginning in the 2000s, Barrio Azteca started to assist Mexico Juarez Cartel with their illegal operations. Later on, the gang became an important element between the rivalry of the Juarez Cartel and Sinaloa Cartel for control of the city of Juarez. The Juarez Cartel's armed wing La Linea recruited members from Barrio Azteca to fight the Sinaloa Cartel in 2008, and many gang members were killed or arrested. In 2010, Barrio Azteca members allegedly murdered 15 teenagers at a party and later, same year, killed a U.S. consulate employee. Such are the atrocities the gang is known for. The attacks brought down a great deal of pressure from the U.S. government, which issued a federal indictment of 35 Barrio Azteca members in Texas in March 2011 on counts of extortion, murder, trafficking, and money laundering. Well, what do you think of the Barrio Azteca gang? Another ruthless gang that continues to spread terror all over Texas and wider United States is the Texas Syndicate, a street and prison gang consisting of predominantly Mexican-American members. The Texas Syndicate originated in the early 1970s in the California prison system. That is as a response to other prison gangs that were preying on native Texas inmates who were known as Reyanos. These Texas offenders banded together for protection purposes and became known as one of the most feared prison gangs in the California prison system. After being released from California prisons, these inmates returned to Texas, often resuming their routine life of violence and or robbery, resulting in them being incarcerated in the Texas prisons. As a result, these gang members managed to expand their control throughout the Texas Department of Criminal Justice prison system. The Texas Syndicate gang is commonly referred to as Ricardo Reyano, Ezete, or Twisted Sister. Listed as one of the oldest Texas prison gangs, this organization has approximately 1,300 members who are Mexican-American inmates. The Texas Syndicate gold rule is as simple as it is merciless. Betray us and you are dead. Members of the Texas Syndicate are bound by a set of strict rules which ensure loyalty and advancement of their criminal activities. Any violation of the rules may result in harsh penalties, including death. The set rules require that a member continue his participation even when out of prison. After being released from prison, a Texas Syndicate member is required to contact the high-ranking member in their geographic area where the released member intends to reside. No member is permitted to break away from the group, as membership is for life. Among the syndicate's main rules, once you join, you are in for life and the gang comes before you, blood, family, God, or anything else. Such strict rules and harsh discipline governing the Texas Syndicate help ensure that the organization members and associates function as a continuing unit despite any changes in membership. Similar to prison gangs like the Mexikanemi or Texas Mafia, the Texas Syndicate is organized along paramilitary lines. On the top is the president and vice president elected by the entire membership. Prison units are individually controlled by local chairman and vice chairman beneath them in the gang hierarchy are captains, lieutenants, sergeant of arms, and soldiers. One of the most common Texas Syndicate sanctioned crimes is drugs business, of which the mineral workers subcontractors for Mexican cartels. The syndicate's other crime of choice are home invasion, extortion, assaults, murder, and even prostitution. This syndicate also has a constitution that requires members to be a Texan, always remain a member, praise the Texas Syndicate before anything else, understand that the Texas Syndicate is always in the right, never let a member down, respect other members, keep all the gang's information within the group. Some but not all Texas Syndicate members embrace tattoos as a form of identity. These tattoos commonly include horns and words containing the letters T and S. Members consider it to be an offense against the organization for a non-member to have the Texas Syndicate tattoos. Although obtaining the Texas Syndicate-related tattoos was once a common practice, Texas Syndicate members now avoid obtaining tattoos in order to shield their association with the Texas Syndicate from law enforcement. This will allow members to function with less oversight, especially within the prison system. One of the Texas Syndicate main rival is the Texas Mexican Mafia or the Mexikanemi, another gang that was also formed to protect Mexican Americans since 1980. There has always been a rivalry between these two gangs, and that is evident to death of many gang members when these two gangs engaged in a war between 1982 to 1984. Texas Syndicate is popular for its strict code of ethics and detailed constitution. However, one gang that thrives under lax membership structure is the Tango Blast. Tango Blast is a pure Hispanic prison and street gang developed in the early 1990s as a self-protection group against more established prison gangs such as the Texas Mexikanemi and the Texas Syndicate. Although Tango Blast originated within the Texas prison system, it has now expanded its reach beyond correction facilities into various communities through Texas. Also, I want you to understand that Tango Blast is an umbrella name for various chapters or cliques that form this gang. The four original and popular chapters that constitute this gang are Houston, ATX, D-Town, and Forritos. These chapters are named after the cities they spread their terror in. For example, D-Town is a chapter in Dallas, ATX is in Austin, Houston from Houston, and Forritos from Fort Worth. Other common cliques under the Tango Blast gang include San Antonio in San Antonio and El Paso, who don't get along with the four original Tango groups. As I had earlier hinted to you, the Tango Blast has relaxed membership requirements, thus enhancing its growth both inside and outside prisons in Texas. Unlike traditional prison gangs, Tango Blast has no written constitution or set rules that govern how members must behave. All members are equal and there is no detectable leadership hierarchy. Tango Blast members don't have to follow orders, attend organization meetings, or pay other Tango members to be active. They also don't have to participate in any gang activities when they are out of prison. As you know now, Tango Blast is no charity organization. It's a gang that thrives in activities like drug trafficking, robbery, violence, and other felonious enterprises. As always, law enforcement are always on their heels trying to curtail their advancement of their illegal activities, more so drug trafficking. For example, Ricardo Valdez, aka Ricky 24, of Brownsville, Texas, was sentenced by U.S. District Judge Sam L. Cummings for 188 months in prison and ordered to forfeit over $3.2 million. Valdez pleaded guilty in February 2009 to one account of conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute 5 kilograms or more of cocaine. Ricardo was a member of one clique situated in West Texas. Valdez and 9 co-defendants were arrested on 5th December 2008 on charges in an indictment alleging that the participants in the conspiracy as members and associates of the West Texas Bureau Tango Blast criminal organization distributed and possessed with intent to distribute cocaine and methamphetamine. The indictment alleged that the defendants would acquire large quantities of cocaine and methamphetamine, transport it to various locations, and then store it at various locations. These 8 defendants pled guilty to this offense regarding their roles in drug trafficking organization and were sentenced. Tattoos play a huge part in identifying many members that represent the Tango Blast. Most will have 4 dots, the most known symbol representing the 4 main cities where the gang originated. Since the Tango Blast is city-based, many members get tattoos that represent where they are from. For example, those in Austin may use the numbers 512, which signify the Texas area code, where those in San Antonio can use the logo of San Antonio Spurs or opt to use San Antonio area code, which is in the numbers 210. Another Texas gang that first emerged from the prison system in the Texas the Mexikanemi or the Texas Mexikanemi, a gang that has long since been a rival of the Texas Syndicate, whom we have covered earlier in this video. In 1984, Heriberto Helb Huerta and Jose Lopez founded Mexikanemi after securing approval from the original Mexican mafia in California. Their goal? To protect Mexican-American inmates from predators like the Texas Syndicate. But protection quickly turned into power and profit. The Mexikanemi trafficked drugs, extorted prisoners, and carried out contract killings. Their growing influence led to a bloody war with the Texas Syndicate, leaving 52 dead in just 21 months. So who are the Mexikanemi? Rooted in Aztec and Mexican heritage, Mexikanemi members call themselves soldiers of Aztlán. Their tattoos, Aztec symbols, gods and skulls are worn like badges of honor. San Antonio, with its deep Aztec history, is considered their spiritual capital. Joining Mexikanemi is not easy. A recruit must be sponsored by an active member often a childhood friend. Once accepted, loyalty is tested through violent initiation acts, a process known as blood in, blood out. Here is a link to a video where I have discussed expansively about the Mexikanemi. Nevertheless, Mexikanemi operates like a paramilitary group. The supreme leader is the president, followed by the vice president, generals who oversee entire regions. Next are the lieutenants and sergeants who manage foot soldiers. Lastly, it's the soldiers and associates who carry out orders. Even from his prison cell in a supermax facility, Huerta still commands the organization. Mexikanemi funds its empire through drugs, extortion, and murder for hire. They work with cartels like Sinaloa, ensuring a steady flow of narcotics. One of the most feared practices is El Dime, a 10% tax on all drug sales in San Antonio. Refusing to pay means certain death. In 1998, Juanita Yablaye learned this the hard way. When she refused to pay, Mexikanemi enforcer Manuel Vasquez strangled her to death with a telephone code. In 2015, Texas executed Vasquez for his crimes. Well, prison gangs in Texas alone continues to spread terror across the state and even in other states. Some of these prison gangs even form allies with other gangs to ensure there is advancement of their criminal activities. Unfortunately, across the board, young men make up a huge percent of these prison gangs. Young men who perhaps out of desperation and even peer pressure decide to join these prison gangs. And most of it can be attributed to lack of a father figure who can guide them accordingly. In my opinion, it will be appropriate that young men get a father figure who will be their guide during their integral growth phase. This will help the young men understand crime or joining these gangs is not the only solution. What do you think? Can these gangs even be stopped, or will they continue to evolve despite law enforcement efforts? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this deep dive interesting, make sure to subscribe for more crime stories like this.